Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone SE 3rd generation just ended up coming out officially, so let's go and compare it against the iPhone 13 and see, I guess, which iPhone is the better one. I'm going to tell you guys the iPhone 13 is the better one in pretty much every single area. I can't really think of a specific situation where the SE3 is better, except probably the price tag, but even then, I would probably even beg to differ that the 13 is a better value per dollar in some areas. If you want to pick up either one of these iPhones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell the iPhone 13 is a much bigger phone, and that's expected. The iPhone 13 has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and it's a really good screen. I think it's really good overall. Very little bezel around it except for the notch up top. But this is a very good panel, and this phone, in many different ways, is future-proofed. You have the flat sides, which are still going to be current for many generations to come, and it's a very premium-feeling iPhone. Good to have to it in a really good size. On the iPhone SE3, we do have a little bit of a smaller display, so a 4.7-inch panel, and that may be a pro for some people. If you want a small iPhone at a little bit of a cheaper cost compared to like even an iPhone 11, well, this is a pretty good iPhone in that sense. You do have the 4.7-inch IPS panel, not an OLED, but it's still pretty good. I just am not a fan of the bezel around the display. The front home button here with Touch ID, which is really cool. I love having a fingerprint sensor. I think that's awesome, having a phone like this in 2022. You have quite a bit of bezel on the top and bottom, like I mentioned, front-facing earpiece right there. And that kind of covers it up on the front. Not really anything else for the most part. Now, in terms of thickness and thickness, I wouldn't say the 13 is a thick phone, but it is a thicker phone than the iPhone SE3. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I think both these phones look and feel really good, but we do have flat sides on the iPhone 13 where we have a curved side on the iPhone SE3, and you can tell which one is thicker and skinnier for the most part. Now on the back, we also have glass backs on both and almost the same exact glass back as well. So you're not getting like frosted glass backs in either one of these things, which is kind of sad. I love frosted glass backs, and I hope it does come to these cheaper iPhones. You have a dual camera setup on the 13, single camera setup on the iPhone SE3, wireless charging, IP certification and everything, MagSafe on the iPhone 13. I will tell you, look at how much bigger the sensors are on the iPhone 13. I mean, that is a big sensor on the iPhone 13. SE3 is much smaller, as you guys can tell. Now, looking at both these iPhones, you may just assume that the iPhone 13 is a much better iPhone in so many different areas, but really the iPhone 13 is better in battery life, build quality probably, and that's kind of it. That's really the two main areas where the iPhone 13 is better. Realistically, the speed should be exactly the same on both these iPhones. They should be lasting the same amount of time in terms of software as well. They have the same chipset and they have the same amount of RAM. So because of that, an iPhone like the iPhone SE 3rd generation is going to be lasting just as long as the iPhone 13. So if you want a long-lasting iPhone, you can spend almost half the price and get the same type of experience in terms of performance and everything on the iPhone SE3 than on the iPhone 13. But you can still buy an iPhone 13. You can buy a 13 mini for $699 or something, $729 if you want to buy it unlocked. And these things are getting cheaper in the used market. The way I see it, the iPhone SE3 is going to be $429 for the next 2 to 3 years, just like how the iPhone SE2 was. The 13 is going to go down to $429 within 2 years from now. So that's probably a good thing to think about if you're planning on buying this iPhone and keeping it for 5 years. If you want to buy like a cheaper iPhone for the time being, or if you have like an iPhone 10, if you can keep it for the next year or two, you can get this one for about the same price as this one, in the used market. So keep that in mind, but I will go and do a speed comparison between them right now and see if they are the same speed. The iPhone SE3 and the iPhone 13 both have that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM each. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. There we go. All the apps are now cleared out in the background, so let me go ahead and clear out all these right now. I don't know why it's taking so long on the iPhone 13. So there we go. The iPhone 13 is on the left. The iPhone SE3 is on the right. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of the same thing. Let's do music, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 was actually faster, and the iPhone 13 was a little bit behind. So that was honestly kind of shocking. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and get into their app stores. 3, 2, 1. And totally butchered that one up. So I'm going to go ahead and retry this one, to be honest. They should be faster than they were before. 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing. Not really that big of a difference. Let's go and click and do this one, for example. 3, 2, 1. 13 was slightly faster, a little bit to load that one up. Mail, 3, 2, 1. I think the SE3 was slightly faster there. Let's do news, 3, 2, 1. SE3 was actually a little bit faster there too. And we got into that panel, did not get that panel on the iPhone SE, on the iPhone 13. Clock, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing, not that big of a difference there. Let's go and get into something like Camera, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing too. Let's go and take a photo, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I don't know why they didn't take a photo. Okay, so I don't even know what to do with that one. Now let's go and get into some of these third-party applications, which I should have a lot of on both these. So let's get into it. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And I was logged into an account here, so we'll just log out of that one. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 was faster by a little bit, but this one did get into the panel pretty much almost instantaneously as well after the iPhone SE3 stack, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 13 loaded that ad a little bit faster. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 was a little bit faster there. Let's do Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 again is the faster one by a little bit. iPhone 13 was a little bit behind. Let's do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3, I don't know why I had to click that like 3 times on the SE3. That didn't click open. So we'll load that one up in the background. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. SE3 I think slightly faster. Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. I think the SE3 was faster there too. Let's do Bofa, 3, 2, 1. And I think the SE3 was also a little bit faster there. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now I do want to state one big common thing with a lot of these newer iPhones is whenever you load them up for the first time and you haven't really used them a lot, they're really going to be faster than even like an older iPhone, than even like a newer iPhone. So if I were to even factory reset like an iPhone 11, it may be faster performing than an iPhone 13 that I've used for a little bit of time. So that's kind of a big thing. I think that's what's going on here. It so far looks like the iPhone SE3 has been the faster one between both of these, which is really good to see. A cheaper iPhone making waves, that's awesome. But I don't think it's going to last. I think if I use the iPhone SE3 for like 6 months, have been using the iPhone 13, I'm sure this one would start probably being as slower or as fast as the iPhone 13. So that covers it up there. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now this was probably another one of those big areas like I mentioned before. Dual camera setup, wide ultra-wide sensor on the iPhone 13. The iPhone SE3 has a single wide-angle lens, both 12 megapixel sensors. Now we can do 4K at 60 on the back of these things, but the iPhone 13 can do 4K at 60 on the front. The iPhone SE3 can only do 1080p on the front. It's not a crazy big deal, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. So in terms of that, that covers it up there. The iPhone 13 lens has a lot of capability. You have an ultra-wide sensor like I mentioned before, which is really cool. You have things like cinematic mode, which is awesome. I love cinematic mode a lot. You have the standard video mode as well, which is really cool. You have photo, but again, I think that 4K at 60 on the front and the back is awesome. But having that ultra-wide sensor is really, really cool. And that's something that I always look forward to, having extra sensors on my iPhone. With something like the iPhone SE3, I think this is a great iPhone as well. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this device. But with something like the iPhone 13, it's definitely going to give you a better experience overall. And I do think if you're somebody in the market who wants to go ahead and just kind of buy an iPhone and pretty much move on with your life, well, you can't really go wrong with something like an iPhone SE, 3. I think it's still a great camera overall, but the iPhone 13 is definitely the better one when it comes down to it. And now that takes us to the end of the video, and to be completely honest, I think it's quite clear. I think the iPhone SE3 is a really decent iPhone in terms of speed and performance, but that's really about it. I think its price is much cheaper than the iPhone 13, but I would still want to spend the money and get an iPhone 13. I think the SE3 and the 13 are different markets, which is good. The iPhone 13 is definitely the better iPhone. You're getting better battery life, you're getting better build quality, better display, bigger phone, which I actually do prefer a lot. And I do think, if you just care about the speed and performance of a phone, then the SE3 is good. But I think just to only look at those things is kind of strange. I think the SE3 is a good performing iPhone for the price, but it's not good battery life for the price. It's not great build quality for the price. It's really just a good performance and longevity for the price. The iPhone 13 is a great phone overall. This is a really, really good iPhone. Even though it's, $829, $400 more than the iPhone SE3, I think it's probably worth the money, to be honest. So that kind of covers it up there. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.